Here we go. The depressing side of live streaming from Turkey Tom. Like I said, we've watched some of his videos before on stream. He deep dives into like some pretty messed up sides of things. So I'm looking forward to this one.
What voice? Hey! Stop stuttering.
Even if you don't know who he is, you've probably seen clips of Tyler 1 before.
Yeah.
Or at least
I was gonna say, like, I feel like if you've been on the internet, you know who Tyler 1 is. Yeah, at some point or another, even if you don't play League of Legends, even if you don't watch him, you've seen clips of Tyler 1 at some point or another. He was in like a really big controversy before about like misogyny and stuff like that. I've seen him, don't know who he is. Yeah, see, exactly.
clips of his so-called autism attacks. If you do know him, you're aware that he's been one of the most popular personalities in League of Legends for almost a decade at this point.
The other thing too is like I try to explain to people, right? So like you'll have people that are trying to like, come up through like through Twitch, right? And so they see people who watch Tyler 1. Tyler 1 is insanely popular. And uh they see that he rages because dude like flips out over everything. He's rage content. And I always try to tell him, I'm like, look, man, when you can get to that point, when you've already got a lot of people, plus it's also not really healthy, right? Because Twitch is there to watch you rage, so they're going to try to make you rage. That's realistically what it is. So I can see already, I can tell kind of where this is going to go with the unhealthy side of things. But it's like, bro, you can't be acting like Tyler 1 when you've got 5 viewers. When you've got less than a couple thousand that are there to watch you mauled out. It just comes off as you just being really angry. And unless you have fostered a community that wants to see you stressed out and losing your absolute mind, uh it just doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't really work.
As entertaining as he is, it's easy to relegate him to being the guy that acts stupid for views. But there's much more beneath the surface. From his rise to fame, the dark side of being a popular streamer, and even the conspiracy against him. This is the story of Tyler 1. After gaming on YouTube peaked in the early 2010s and started declining, Twitch rallied to fill the vacuum left by its predecessor. This wave, like all waves, was in need of strong personalities to protagonize it, but it was unknown what kind of people would show up to fulfill that role. Unlike YouTube gaming, which largely focused on lighthearted and well-edited gameplay videos, Twitch was all about putting copious amounts of time into competitive games.
Yeah.
Though this worked great with audiences who enjoyed the seemingly endless IV drip of content, this more effort-intensive format took its toll on streamers. Cases of being burned out and exhausted, as well as having their personal life being negatively affected from streaming.
This is another one that I kind of want to watch because like I've seen stories about this dude, Delwer, and man, what if we're talking about people whose chats enjoy watching them self-destruct? This one was a wild ride. We'll have to watch that at some point as well.
Streaming too much became commonplace. On top of that, a typical side effect of excessive exposure to a competitive environment is that it tends to turn people into combative rageaholics. Of course,
That's why I
it's no
don't do
secret that gamers
RTA
aren't
as
particularly
much.
known for their patience and good exercise of judgment. But the fact that these people were live streaming meant that they'd be unable to edit out their raunchier bits.
Yep.
Quickly, that would become part of the appeal of streaming. After all, who doesn't get entertained by seeing someone lose their mind over a video game?
Exactly.
It's like watching Formula 1. There's always a part of you rooting for someone to crash. Sure, it might upset those in charge of moderating and keeping online environments safe, but for the viewers, the more toxic, the better. Case in point, Tyler 1, the prototypical toxic player. as hyper-competitive, loudmouthed, and aggressive as they come, all while retaining his viewers' empathy and support on a massive scale. However, is it rewarding enough that it justifies the stress that comes from it? And how can this dynamic survive the pressures against what is deemed toxic behavior? Today, we'll find out.
Okay.
Though very little is known about Tyler's childhood and upbringing, we have a plethora of images of him as a kid, mostly thanks to his own efforts at showing them to his audience. We also know that he has a younger brother, Eric, who also streams on Twitch as erob221. It seems like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Despite his openness to exposing himself, Tyler has remained remarkably private about his personal life, save for a few appearances of his mom here and there. Long before he would permanently alter the shape of his head by...
That's right. I completely forgot that homie had the head dent. Holy.
Wearing headsets for too long, Tyler was wearing a completely different kind of headgear. From 2011 to 2013, Tyler played varsity football as both running back and free safety at Mark Twain High School in Missouri. Judging from a number of Tyler's highlights, it seems he was good at what he did, which is pretty impressive for a football player that's 5'6". According to an interview he gave at the age of 18, he'd already been lifting weights for 4 years without missing a day at that point. This dedication did not go unnoticed, as it seems before he'd even finished high school, he'd already signed with Central Methodist University to play football for their team. According to its website, Tyler was on the Dean's List, a clear indication that he also excelled academically. Despite initially majoring in strength and conditioning, he eventually switched his major to computer science, all while playing for the CMU team, even being recognized for athletic achievement and volunteering for Service Day at a point. I'm not particularly well versed in sports ball myself, but apparently Tyler had 12 carries for 127 yards and a touchdown during a game, which seems to be worthy of note. However, beneath the local news coverage-worthy veneer of his academic life, Tyler's competitive drive wasn't satisfied by football, and he needed something else, something more intense to fulfill it. In 2013, his Twitch account wasn't particularly noteworthy. However, it would become the outlet for his interest in video games to manifest, which would eventually make him famous. In 2014, Tyler managed to rank 14th on the North American League of Legends ladder, and as time slowly rolled by, he accrued a following, even if small compared to what he would eventually have. Additionally, it was as if he made the audio of every single one of his streams unnecessarily loud and jarring on purpose, the sheer strangeness of which was enough to attract some viewers. The main event wasn't when the game was being played as it was supposed to be. Rather, it was when things went sour and fell apart that the real Tyler 1 experience would begin. To put it in blunt terms, Tyler was the embodiment of what would happen if the word toxic streamed League and could bench 425 pounds. Now, don't get me wrong, as of the past few years, the concept of a gamer moment has taken on a somewhat different and more radical meaning,
Yeah,
which,
that's true.
fortunately, Tyler hasn't had many issues with. Even when he did, his, natural immunity kept it in check, if you know what I mean. No, Tyler's brand of toxicity, if you can call it that, consisted mostly of relentless verbal abuse of his teammates through chat whenever they did something he didn't like. That sounds like something no one could get away with, but see, Tyler had tact. Whenever he decided to antagonize his teammates, he would also throw the game in a comically destructive way, and followed it up with a played-up fit of rage that would entertain his audience so much they didn't mind how much of a nuisance he was being to the other players at all.
Well, yeah.
As a matter of fact,
They're not in the
other
game.
toxic League players rallied to him as their de facto representative. His go-to technique of kamikaze bombing a game was dubbed running it down mid, which essentially meant playing the game with no strategy or cooperation, just repeatedly heading straight for the enemy's base as fast as possible and dying in the process. A lot of his earlier unhinged activities took place from 2013 to 2015, which unfortunately we don't have archived, though we can use our imagination based on later examples of his behavior. The degree of pettiness he came to was truly bewildering to witness. While he streamed, he would iconically keep a notepad open where he would type down the nicknames of the players who wronged him in some way, along with the reason why he had a problem with them. This document was called the Int List, as whenever Tyler happened to get put in a match with any of them in his team, he would start doing what is called intentional feeding, meaning dying to the other team on purpose in order to make them more powerful and ultimately lose the game. The mean-spirited conflict that Tyler seemed to bring with him to every game wasn't a bug, it was a feature. Whenever his watchers weren't making fun of his height or truncated skull shape, they were making donations with purposely irritating or hostile messages in order to push him into a fit.
You know, this is also something, so like, I remember Twitch a long time ago, right? When I was playing Hearthstone, I started watching like people playing Hearthstone on Twitch. And I remember that was where the first time was that I saw Caseytron. Now, if you're not familiar with Caseytron is a female streamer who rage baits her dudes into donating to her to say mean things to her through TTS or through donation messages. They think that they got them, but she just gets money. I remember watching her one night because this is when I was working in IT. I worked third shift, and me and another dude were the only people in the building. So, you know, whenever we weren't doing anything, or just in general, I'd have usually a stream up or something like that, just for background noise, while we were doing our work. And I remember he watched Caseytron like a lot, and I was like, bro, dude, how is she doing this? Like, why are these people like this? They're so stupid. I'm like, these guys are so dumb. I'm like, this is all an act. She's acting really, really stupid to piss people off. And then she doesn't read chat. She only reads donations. So people will donate $5 to be like, wow, you're so garbage at this game. Guys, why are you being so mean to me? I'm just trying my best. And then more donations and more subs and stuff like that. And I'm just like, holy dude. I'm like, this is so big brain. I'm like, it just is, right? You know, and you get these people that are just trying to donate. And if you play into like the whole, oh, now I'm raging thing, then people are going to like monkey brain send you more money because you're raging. You know, it's brilliant. Yeah, these people are marketing geniuses. Caseytron was an absolute pinnacle of her time. I think she still streams. I don't know. I haven't looked her up at all in like a really, really, really long time. But I think Shinigami mentioned her the other night, so I'm sure she does. She made a ton of. I remember like one stream, like I'm sitting there working at third shift IT job. I think I'm making decent money, and I watch her pull in probably like $2,500 in like the 2 hours that the dude I was working with was watching her, and I'm just like, bruh, dude, holy.
which Tyler would supply them with abundantly. Many hilarious instances of this have been clipped, such as a running gag where people send in donations with racial slurs to be read out by the stream's text-to-speech application in order to try and purposely get his stream punished by Twitch, to which he usually reacts by screaming as loud as he can in order to drown out the sound. Some noteworthy donations that I can read include, I hope you know that 90% of your viewers are submissive homosexuals who want you to insult and degrade them. I know, because I'm one of them. For real, when Rosa Parks saw your hair, she sat in the back of the barber shop. By the way, you might be a good replacement for Brett Favre because your hairline was always a quarterback. Hey Tyler, it's me, your dad, Dad Eiler. You ran away from home 9 years ago. I just want to say I overreacted back then. I know you had that homosexual phase back then, and I'm willing to accept you as my gay little baby boy. Come home, son. Surrounded by a crowd like this, suddenly the toxic outbursts don't look so out of place. His rage was so omnidirectional, he didn't limit it to fighting his teammates and his audience. In his relentless pursuit of something to be aggravated at, he eventually begins being mad at himself whenever he stutters or otherwise misspeaks. This, paired with his almost compulsive tendency to scream non-verbally and shake whenever something he didn't like happened, affectionately called autism attacks by his fanbase, got people wondering if he actually had a diagnosis of some kind that made him that way. These speculations about him being autistic became amplified to such an extent that he actually went as far as doing an online autism test in order to prove that he didn't have it. Predictably, it didn't go quite as he intended, as the test scored people from 0 to 50, and Tyler scored an exactly 25. meaning it was at least inconclusive. Of course, this was more than enough for his viewership to consider him a
Well, yeah,
confirmed
fake rage.
Aspie. All in all, throughout his entire career as a League streamer, he got banned on a total of 22 different accounts. This is due to the fact that whenever an account of his would get banned for things like telling people to keep themselves safe or throw games by going AFK, he would just openly make another account to ban evade, rinse, and repeat. Among his many means of being purposely obnoxious
that's
and
the problem with a
off-kilter, he would
free-to-play
almost
game.
exclusively play as Draven. This is significant because every month, Riot patches the game to balance the champions out, nerfing some and powering others up, in order to keep the game fair while preserving champion diversity. A lot of competitive players and streamers would follow the patch notes and pick whatever champion was the most buffed up that month in order to win as much as possible. Tyler picking Draven was going extremely against the grain, considering Draven hadn't been anywhere near the top champion for years. Regardless, he still managed to retool Draven as his main, and somehow outcompete other players who were selecting for only the most powerful champions. Shockingly enough, he managed to keep his ridiculous routine up for 3 years with little to no consequence, until finally, in 2016, Disco Heat, a YouTuber whose account was dedicated to documenting toxic League players, posted a video about one of Tyler's AFK exploits. This brought a lot of attention to Tyler and his toxicity, and as a consequence, he decided of his own volition to become a changed man, claiming to be reformed. A video would be uploaded to Tyler's YouTube account called Tyler 1 Draven Hype Montage, which now stands at over 7 million views, wherein he would deliver a speech over Clubbed to Death from the Matrix, about how he'd matured past being toxic and was gearing up to do a League of Legends World Tour, ranking first place in every region available. People were already pretty entertained by him going all out on every stream, but now there were stakes involved. The spectacle became watching Tyler walk a tightrope, struggling as hard as he could to resist the urge to do what his instincts told him to. His followers on Twitch soared from 5,000 to over 92,000 within the month.
Damn.
Everyone was invested in watching his resolution fizzle out in real time. Surprising no one, his improved behavior would oscillate, and the old Tyler would intermittently reappear, leading many to make fun of his claims of being reformed. Overall, though, it seems that he did genuinely change his playing style to a more conventional one, and stopped throwing and trolling games. This would be pointless, however, as just a couple of weeks after his decision to become reformed, something quite unexpected would happen. While Tyler was streaming and just finishing up a match, his screen would go black and Tyler would remain silent for a moment. After a while, he would simply confirm that he'd been banned. This wasn't the regular kind of ban that Tyler was acquainted with and could easily get around. This was an ID ban, meaning if he were to create a new account to play from, the League client would trace it back to him and instantly have it banned as well.
Damn.
Inspecting the boards, Tyler found an explanation for his indefinite banning posted by someone from the Riot Games staff, Riot Socrates, saying, "Hey all, instant feedback catches the most unsportsmanlike players in League, but some go out of their way to continue ruining games for the community. Because of a well-documented history of account bans for verbal abuse, intentional feeding, as well as account sharing and purchasing, evasion of sportsmanship systems, and player harassment, we will not allow Tyler 1 to hold a League of Legends account indefinitely. Any account definitively used by him will be banned immediately upon identification. We know we're not perfect, and this dragged on too long, but we want you to know when the rare player comes along who's a genuine jerk, we've still got your back." It was instantly clear that this wasn't a decision based on a spontaneous call for his banning, but rather an internal Riot staffer's arbitrary dislike of Tyler.
Yo, that right there is terrible, man. When like somebody like just comes out and's like, we don't like this person, you can't play our game. Like, yeah, who cares? Like, that's why, like, the thing is, right? Um, with like Epic 7, when you see people that are like, oh, this person's emote spamming me, just put in a mute button. Oh, he's intentionally feeding? Just go again. Oh, you don't want to deal with people like that? Just get a pre-made. It is what it, like, I don't get it, right? Like, the toxicity online, just mute them, dude. Yeah, if they're saying, if there's an ability to mute people in a game, guess what you can do? You can just mute them. Yeah, you just hit the mute button and then you don't have to deal with them ever again. Yeah. If they make a new account, guess what? Just mute that one. If they're emoting you, just mute it. Yeah, just leave the game. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah, it's really not.
One. As of the latest archive of Riot Socrates' post, it had 6,000 visible downvotes and over 4,000 comments, most of
Yo,
which were
thanks for
coming out
the
in support of Tyler.
YouTube
People were
sub
pointing
hologram.
out that he'd leveled up his latest account on stream, meaning it wasn't bought or leveled up by someone else for him. And whenever there was trolling going on, it wasn't initiated by him. Additionally, they'd go on to point out other streamers that were also extremely toxic, but for whatever reason, had Riot look the other way.
Well,
It
because
really
they're
did
not
seem
as
like
big
people
as
that
him.
worked at Riot held a grudge against Tyler, as not much later after his ban, a clip would surface of Riot Freak, a game designer for Riot Games, saying that he was sad that someone as vile as Tyler was making money off of League. That his only marketable skill was to be an a-hole, describing him as nothing but a rager. Eventually, the stars aligned while Tyler was playing on one of his secret accounts, and he
You know, the thing is though, like from a game dev standpoint, like okay, so Homeboy's a rager, Homeboy's toxic, whatever. Like the thing is though, is he brings people into the game. You know, I know like in Epic 7, people were like, bro, I don't really like Wakari. Wakari's just fake malding. You know, he's mad. His community's toxic. It's like, but it brings people into the game. Yeah, and in League you can mute pings, messages, and you can turn off chat. For League, it's pretty frustrating because you're locked into a game for 20 to 45 minutes. Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, yeah, one intentional dude, but like the thing is, right, is like if you get to a certain point, like I always remember it's like there's like this small window where people who are intentionally trolling and being super toxic like are all gathered, and then like once you break past that, then it's actual players that actually want to play. um you know, not saying that they're not toxic as well, obviously, you know, but I don't know, I haven't played League in forever. I would always go in with like a couple of friends, so that reduced the ability of like other random toxic people to join the game.
happened to be matched against Freak on the same lane, meaning they'd necessarily face off against each other. Of course, Tyler took this opportunity to exact revenge for what was said in the clip, decimating Freak. Considering how rare of a punishment an ID ban is, people were taken aback that it was applied to Tyler of all people. In Tyler's own streams, you could see other players display way worse behavior than he did and go unpunished. It was particularly aggravating that this took place just as he was cutting out his more toxic tendencies.
Well,
A
it's
testament to
the
his
thing is
dedication
though,
to no
is like I said, you know, if you are the biggest streamer, you have the biggest target on you. And so instead of taking out Tyler plus, you know, these other smaller streamers, mid-sized streamers, they take out one dude, try to make him an example, and then just hope that the rest of them go, "Oh my god, we probably shouldn't do this. That guy got made an example of. That guy got. Yeah, we should clean up our act too."
longer being toxic is that, even when he just discovered that he was banned, and as people were sending in donos with straight up insults, his reaction was not an angry one, but solemn dissatisfaction. It was a dark day for Tyler 1. On the 2nd of May, Tyler uploaded a video to his YouTube account titled Vlog About What Happened and Future Plans, where he would open up about his banning. He mentions that he was already expecting it since Disco Heat's video on him, but points out that what made the Riot staff dislike him so much was that he was the top League streamer and good at the game while being toxic,
Yeah.
which went against one of their main maxims that claimed non-toxic players won more games. He also implies Meteos, another professional League of Legends player, had something to do with his banning, whether directly or indirectly, as just a few days prior to Tyler's ban, Meteos was talking about how toxic he was, a clip of which has survived on YouTube to this day. What made this ironic is the fact that, as the people on the League forums pointed out, Meteos had his own history of being toxic himself. Regardless, it doesn't seem Tyler was particularly up in arms about the ban. saying that the only reason he doesn't try to keep evading it and streaming it on his Twitch account was because that would put his Twitch account at risk of being banned as well. His alternative solution was to just stream games other than League. The diversification efforts began with playing things like Outlast in the classic horror gameplay formats, and coaching videos where Tyler watched someone else play League and commented. Though these videos were pretty successful, getting up to hundreds of thousands and occasionally breaking into over 1 million views, Tyler eventually settled into his new competitive game of choice, Overwatch. Fulfilling every expectation, Tyler went in on Overwatch, with all the toxicity that he had pent up from no longer streaming League. However, it wouldn't take very long until his reputation caught up to him once again. After a bout of Tyler's usual flaming his teammates for not being up to par, Blizzard, the company responsible for Overwatch, would decide that letting Tyler do his thing on their game risked having his style of playing becoming associated with their game, as it did League. In order to prevent this from happening, they instantly put him in a 10-year-long mute, meaning he was banned from ever communicating with other players in the game. Tyler attempted to circumvent this ban by buying another copy of the game, only to find out that, before he even signed in, the ban was already active on his new copy. They weren't taking any chances with Tyler, in fear that he would taint their image. Besides playing a variety of different games, Tyler also began doing unorthodox streams where he wouldn't game at all. For example, one of his videos that cracked 1 million views was called Chef Tyler 1 Protein Cake, where, as the title suggests, he just bakes cake with whey protein. Much to the chagrin of people who expected his online presence to dwindle after no longer having access to League, it seemed like Tyler could do pretty much whatever he wanted to on stream, no matter how unconventional, and people would still watch just for his personality.
Yeah, like that's the thing, right? So like you get to a certain point in saturation. I mean take Asmongold for example, right? Like Asmongold built up all of his, for the most part, he built up all of his notoriety on World of Warcraft. But Asmongold can do whatever he wants and play whatever he wants and react to whatever he wants, and people will go watch him. Like if he got banned from World of Warcraft, first off, that'd be at least 10 videos worth of content, so that would be beneficial to him. But he can go do whatever he wants, man. Yeah, homie can go do anything he wants at this point. Now the problem is until you hit that saturation point, you're kind of stuck doing whatever it is that you're doing. But as long as you snowball to a certain point, you get to a certain notoriety level and you have a good personality. Now, if people are just watching you because you're literally the only person playing the game and you try to go play something else, then that might not work, you know, because you're not going to retain all those people going to like a new game, going to a new category, and it's just not going to work out for you because now you're a small fish in a big pond instead of being the only fish in an unknown pond. So, you know, it is what it is, but like Twitch is pretty rough. And if people think like, especially when people are like, oh, this person, they can't play their game, they're going to fall off. Bro, if you've got 92,000 subscribers, like they said earlier, yeah, you can go cook a cake and it'll get 1 million views. Yeah.
There was a noticeably larger response to the videos that were just spoofs as opposed to gaming, which broke expectations. His audience actually became happy he got banned from League, as now they could get more of Tyler on his own as opposed to just playing games. It was only during this variety era that you could have more candid moments where Tyler exposed his sensitive side, such as when his mom texted him after getting out of a surgery and he cried on stream. This type of thing made it difficult to relegate him to a purely mean-spirited troll. Tyler also attended TwitchCon 2016, where he would meet for the first time his girlfriend and fellow streamer Michaela Edwards, who he's still together with. Tyler's channel and Twitch account grew exponentially during this period, and everyone that had written him off as just a rager were being forced to deal with the fact that he wasn't going anywhere. A year later, in 2017, the animosity Riot employees had for Tyler would become even more explicit, as messages from the official Discord server for r/League of Legends would leak. Well, not exactly leak, since they were never really private in the first place. A lead Riot employee, Riot Sanjuro, would post the following messages in reference to Tyler. Free Tyler 1 to make $100,000 plus a year on being a dick in a game he didn't make. He looks like a damn homunculus, to be honest. It's fine, he'll die from a coke overdose or testicular cancer from all the steroids. Then we'll be Gucci.
Jesus,
you know how much
dude.
bullshit he caused me, personally? I've spent many hours of my workday dealing with his bullshit. I mean, I get it. I get the comedy of his streams and his brand, but it's at the expense of a lot of other innocent people, and that's not cool.
Yeah, who cares?
He's had 20 plus accounts permabanned. He only does it for the views and the dollars.
Okay,
With the
yeah.
phrase, Free Tyler 1, Sanjuro.
Why is this a bad thing? Like, why do people see this as a bad thing? Guess what streamers do? They make money. And a lot of times, if you do something that a lot of people will pay you money for, you do that thing because you want money. Wowee. I've really never understood, bro, I've never understood this mindset where people get big mad at a streamer or a YouTuber or any other content creator. They're like, bro, this guy's just doing this shit for money. Yeah, I also go to work every day for money. Wow, holy damn, that's crazy, dude. Imagine doing something and then wanting to get paid for it, and then being entertaining and wanting to get paid for it. Holy crap. I've never understood the amount of entitlement that people on the internet have for free fucking content. I got this stuff in my comment sections of my YouTube videos way back in the day. Like, I don't get it so much anymore, but like, dude, bro, I would get these people, they're like, oh, he's just making this YouTube video for clicks and for money. Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. Congratulations, you cracked the code. Holy shit, dude. You've had your fifth eye awoken. Your Merkabas are aligned. You have figured it out. That's right. I made this video because I wanted people to click on it so that I could get ad revenue. So I could make 37 cents off of this video. Yeah, 100%, dude. Why do you think people do anything in life, really? It's like, yeah, maybe part of me is like, well, I mean, I did a lot of content for a long time without being monetized. But yeah, it's a hobby. But you know what? You also like to get paid for putting in hours upon hours of time to edit videos, to research stuff, to record things, to provide entertainment to people. And I've never really understood this mentality of, well, he just only does this for the views and the money. Yeah, it's like, no shit, dude. Yeah, some people got to pay bills, homie. Yeah, not everybody's streaming League of Legends for free. They're not doing it. First off, I don't understand how people play League of Legends most of the time, because holy shit, it's just like you got to be a masochist, right? Maybe you're a masochist, maybe you get off on it. But like, yeah, if you're streaming stuff and you're being entertaining and you're trying to do it, it's like, yeah, there's the expectation of, hey, yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah, I would like to get money off of this. Normalize encouraging Twitch. Hold on first. Riot is awake Madge. What did you just want me to sleep? You wanted to see my feet Parth while they're sticking out of the blanket. Riot is Madge of Tyler 1's success. Well, yeah, 100%, because they're not getting a cut of that money. Yeah, normalize encouraging Twitch streamers to take sponsorships for money, encourage people to take ads to get more money so they can keep streaming more. Yeah, and I think that like when people get mad because like, okay, so first off, yes, if a streamer is running like 10 minutes of ads an hour, I'm going to bounce. There's also an ability, and I don't know if streamers, like how many streamers have this turned on or off. Uh but you can actually, like, you know how like if you sub to a streamer, right? Like it turns off all the ads, like you don't get any more ads. Um you can actually turn that off. Like, I saw this not too long ago. You can turn that off so even subscribers are forced to watch ads. Bruh, what kind of scummery is that? Bro, if that were the case, man, if I went there and I subbed to a channel and I still got ads, I'd be like, bruh, come on, dude. For real. Why are you doing this to me? I gave you my $5. So what's the purpose of the sub then? Emotes, you're in the cool kids club, because you're a sub. That's what it is. I don't know. I haven't really ran into it. I unironically view Raid Shadow Legends as a good thing because they probably have helped independent streamers and creators more than any other company and individual. Yeah, and you know what the thing is it's a lot easier to finish a Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship than it is HelloFresh. I hate HelloFresh because every day, like every time I get that stupid stuff, it'll be like, "Hey, Shotgun Shogun, you could earn up to $5,000 with this sponsorship." And I'm like, "Bro, what do I got to do? Yo, hit me up with that. Holy, let's go." And then it's fucking HelloFresh. Hey, if you get 10 people in your chat to sign up for HelloFresh, we'll give you $100. And then it's capped at 5,000. So if you get, you know, 500 people to do it, we'll give you some money. And I'm like, bro, get out of here, dude. Like, I almost want to take them. Like, if they give me free boxes, to promote their stuff, maybe I'll start doing it. And then I'll be like, I got free food, dude. I don't even care. Yeah, don't even sign up for it. I'm not going to finish this sponsorship. I just wanted that free box of food. I should look into that. I could get free meals just by signing up for their dumb sponsorships that they give me like every fucking week. Um but yeah, no, I think that like, cuz when I was doing YouTube, I was always like real scared, right? And this is a whole segue off of this. You guys got me on an Asmongold rant right now. But like I was always scared to take sponsorships because I was like, "Oh, my community is going to see that I sold out. Everybody's doing Raid Shadow Legends. I can't do that because I don't want everybody to hate me for being a sellout, a shill. I don't want to do that. That's terrible, dude." Um, and so I'd watch all of these other people just get thousands of dollars, man. Just thousands of dollars for like, "Hey guys, what's up? Forget everything you've ever known about everything you've ever known because Raid Shadow Legends is going to blow your mind harder than when you found out that if you use a comb on an onion, you can cut it, but it won't fall apart. I know you probably just learned that today. Holy shit. Yo, that's fucking crazy. By the way, Raid Shadow Legends, you can join my guild. I'm literally never going to play this after I record this video, but you can come look for it. Yeah, I'm on this server. Sign up." And then they never play it again. And then they get thousands of dollars. I watched so many people do that, but I'm like, no, my integrity. But then like one time I just did it and like two people were mad, but then I'm like, yeah, what do I care? Yeah, I got $1,000 and you don't. Yeah, two people are mad that I did this and I'm a sellout plus 1,000. Yeah, exactly. So it is what it is. But I'm gonna go back to the video. But yeah, I do agree that that it should be, yeah, people should definitely do it. Like, don't do 30-second ads on a streaming platform. Yeah.
Is it for the views and the dollars? With the phrase Free Tyler 1, Sanjuro is referring to the hashtag Free Tyler 1
I just
campaign
hate that
to
mentality,
get Riot
dude.
to unban him that got relatively popular, with people holding signs with the hashtag at League events and making change.org campaigns for it. The campaigns would become so ubiquitous and rife with anti-Riot sentiments that, eventually, League events would include no hashtag FreeTyler1 or any references to it in their rules of conduct. It's safe to say that things got out of hand. Briefly after this started making the rounds in the community, Sanjuro would come out and not only confirm that the messages were his, but double down on them, getting a whopping negative 18,000 votes on Reddit after he
Jeez, dude. 19,000 down dudes. Bro. Oh my God. Only thing I have a problem if content is some shitty dude doing shitty things, for example, quirks, etc., and get money doing it. I don't know what quirks is. Like the movie Quirks with Jay and Silent Bob? Yeah, that's a lot of bad karma. It's going to be hard to dig yourself out of that one.
Posted, "Dude, come on. That's my personal take on the situation. I don't speak for the company on live chats. I'm my own person." What people pointed out in the replies to this post was that this wasn't the first instance of Sanjuro instantly becoming upset at the mention of Tyler1. In a league match, when someone posted #FreeTyler1 to chat, he would tell them to, and I quote, "Eat a dick." This would technically qualify as toxic behavior, but I digress.
Hey,
Soon,
that's
more
true.
posts would surface. "I don't wish death upon anyone, and I actually find him pretty funny. Don't take real-time chat out of
salesperson.
context, though.
Gotcha.
This seems like an attempt to do damage control over what he'd said, but it was too little, too late." Both on Reddit and Discord, people were warning him that, even if Tyler1's fans could do little more than complain about the ban, Riot would definitely not like the fact that one of their lead representatives was saying things like that online, especially with their obsession with fighting toxicity wherever it may be. He would make yet another post to Reddit saying, "Reddit, League players, Tyler, I displayed a gross error in judgment last night and wholeheartedly apologize for my comments. They were out of..."
This right here is the, if you don't go rectify this, you're fired. Yeah, or the you're probably going to get fired. So little homeboy is doing some damage control right here. But we've all learned over the years that saying sorry is never enough for anybody ever on in any way, shape, or form on the internet.
Of line, and not what any of you deserve to hear, especially from a rioter. I'll be taking time away from Reddit, Discord, and in-game chat to reflect on how I communicate with players. Sorry again for the insults and the language. Tyler would take to Twitter to comment on this unfortunate situation. "It really sucks that some people still hold a massive grudge against old Tyler1 and refuse to acknowledge I've changed. With that being said, I have no hard feelings towards the guy. It happens." On a stream
That's a
update,
pretty
he
base
would
take.
follow this comment up by defending himself against the things Sanjuro had said about him. "I do not do steroids. I have never taken any kind of drugs like that. I don't do cocaine. I do not drink alcohol. I do not drink soda. I don't do any of that. None of it. Never have. Never will. I haven't drunk a soda since 8th grade. I do not have cancer in my nutsack, and I never will, hopefully." As predicted by pretty much everyone, it seems that Riot fired Sanjuro.
Good.
As his LinkedIn profile was updated to show that his time at the company had ended. On
Homie
Discord,
deserved
when
it.
people told him that this would happen, he essentially blamed them for publicizing his mistake so much, saying,
Don't talk shit if you don't want it to come back and bite you in the ass. Yeah, talk a whole bunch of shit about a dude all over the internet when you are an employee and like a face of the company. Yeah, not the dude. He doesn't have any nutsack cancer, dude. Hopefully, he does have a a dented head that looks super dumb, but that it is what it is. But it's like, man, oh my, looky here. If it isn't the consequences of my own actions, y'all ruined my life. No, you ruined your life. You did this. This is your fault. Yeah, you said that stupid shit in public.
"Y'all ruined my life." Another staffer, Riot Cactopus, would update the League subreddit with a couple of posts. To be very clear here, what was said is not okay, and we take it extremely seriously. I'd like to apologize on behalf of Riot to both Tyler1 and to the community for this. We will be taking action internally to address this, although it would not be appropriate to go into specifics here. No one at Riot is above reproach. Neither Tyler1 nor any other player deserves that. Right now, we're working on a clear policy that explains how ID bans work for all players. That includes explicit guidelines for how an ID banned player can get unbanned. Starting very soon, we'll be proactive about reaching out to ID banned players and sharing those guidelines. No rioters should be freely discussing ID banned players or their situations. If anyone else gets ID banned, we'll deal with that person fairly and privately. From this moment forward, you should expect that to be our policy.
That
The
should have been
last
your
part of the
policy from
second
the
post would
beginning.
immediately send Tyler's fans into a frenzy, as it now seems that Riot was reconsidering the ID ban. To which Cactopus would make an edit to clarify. When we talk about potentially lifting ID bans, identity bans in the future, we're not talking about ever giving back anyone their banned accounts. With very rare exceptions, banned accounts are banned forever. Now, despite this looking like an attempt to shoot down talks about unbanning Tyler, everyone read between the lines and realized this only meant that no specific account previously used by him would become unbanned, but that his ID ban could certainly be lifted. Meanwhile, Tyler's antics continued to fall squarely in the realm of reformed. For example, since he couldn't participate in any league championships, he would spectate and comment on games while parodying official league championship broadcasts, poorly green screening himself into a stadium setting or next to commentators, as well as showing fake advertisements. Eventually, this would materialize into the TCN, the Tyler 1 Championship Series, which Tyler would host himself, managing to get up to over 200,000 concurrent viewers and awarding $10,000 to the winning team despite having no sponsors. What he lacked in anger management, Tyler had in dedication to his craft. The rumors of the relationship between Riot Games and Tyler improving, to the point of a potential lifting of his ID ban, were confirmed in October 2017, when Tyler...
You know, the thing is, like, right, so all of this stuff here is like I've said before, the crazy thing is, if you think about it, a lot of times when it comes to Twitch, YouTube, whatever, it's right place, right time, right person. Like, all of these stars have to align, and you have to run with the momentum that you have when you get it, right? Take Tectone, for example. I've told this story plenty of times. Before Sinnoh Alice, before Arknights, I remember looking up, because at the time I was, biggest Fate Grand Order North American, YouTube, channel. I was making Epic 7 content. I was going to move into Sinnoh Alice. And so I was looking up other people who were looking at Sinnoh Alice, making Sinnoh Alice content, and I came across Tectone at that point. Tectone was like a 1K, I think homie had like maybe 5K, subs on YouTube. Dude was pulling in 3 digits on all of his videos. Dude was grinding though. Like, dude made videos like every day, but like nobody watched them because they were for games that, literally nobody fucking played. However, Sinnoh Alice got delayed by a year. So that got pushed back. And then Arknights came out. Now, when Arknights came out, me and Tectone both started on Arknights at the same time. But I was also playing Fate Grand Order. I was also playing Epic 7. I was also playing, I think I was still playing Azure Lane at the time. I was playing a whole bunch of games, whereas Tectone just went full bore into Arknights. Now, one thing I've realized playing mobile games is that if a mobile game comes out from China, obviously like a Genshin, an Arknight, something like that, they spend 90% of their budget on marketing. And I also think that all of the decommissioned Bitcoin miners that they have over there have been repurposed to just watch Genshin videos for the YouTube algorithm. Regardless, that aside, that's a case of right person, right time, right game. And he snowballed real hard off of the marketing for Arknights, because when Arknights came out, Arknights was everywhere. It was also kind of a new-ish style of tower defense mobile game. And so that started his catapult. He just kind of like rolled off of that. And Tectone is very loud, very flamboyant, with his stuff, very like drama inducing, which, hits a certain target of people, like on the internet, a lot of times there is no bad publicity, right? So even though people hated Tectone, people still talked about Tectone, and then as soon as Tectone found Genshin, like as soon as he went to Genshin Impact, that was the Tectone maker, right? Now, if Tectone had went to Sinnoh Alice instead of Arknights, he would still be a dead channel because Sinnoh Alice content, the game was garbage. As much as it was, as much as the aesthetic was good, if he would have went to be in an Arknights main, or not an Arknights, but a Sinnoh Alice main, he wouldn't be where he is now. That's just the reality of it. It's all of these stars aligning and stuff like that. But once the snowball starts to go down the hill, you start picking up all of these people. It could have snowballed from SV2 if you could have, yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, just think about if I would have never stopped making FGO content. I was rolling that snowball downhill, and then I just, diverted it off, went to Epic 7. I had to restart my snowball, and then I pushed that off, and I went to Final Fantasy 14. And then that snowball didn't even go anywhere, and then I just disappeared for 6 months. Self-sabotage. I was not in any place at any time. So, that is my looking back at myself. But when you have like a personality like Tyler One who is entertaining on his own, they point out that like even outside of the rage baiting, I mean it's like Asmongold and Zach Rar. They're Asmongold is Zach Rar, but at 12. Right? So like you go watch Asmon on his alt channel. Asmon's a lot more, I mean, he's usually a lot more chill. If Asmon goes live on Asmongold, he is Asmongold. Everything there is 12. Everything that he does normally is ramped up. All of his stuff is at a whole different level, right? Whereas like sometimes on Zach Rar, I know like there for a while I would tune in like at late at night, and he wouldn't even have a cam on. He would be not really engaging too much with chat, and he would just be, he'd just be playing the games. It is what it is. I mean, it's basically his second channel now. And he's kind of Asmongold there, but like, once you snowball to a certain point, then you can kind of peel back the character if you want to, and then you can just do whatever you want. Like it's all about that right place, right time, snowball into it, and then you get people that follow you for the personality and not necessarily the game. Like that's one of the problems that I had when I thought that I could just move from Fate Grand Order to another game, is that was the big first jarring, punch to the gut, where it's like, these people aren't going to follow me to this other game. You have to think about it that way. You retain like 10%, 20% of your viewers when you shift, complete gears. But when you have, 200,000 concurrent viewers watching you do a thing, you could go do whatever else you want. Yeah, it's easy. But yeah, I mean, the dude was definitely an entertainer. I've never really watched him like as a main, but like I saw a lot of his stuff online, and I mean, dude's funny as hell.
Tyler would upload a video called Updates on My League Ban. In it, he reveals that he has been in talks with Riot and that they were indeed considering him for a ban lift, though he would have to demonstrate good behavior by having an account of his officially evaluated as non-toxic over the course of a month. His genuinely contrite attitude certainly helped the process along, though it was probably leveraged by the fact that, just a few months prior, Tyler had a very successful stream playing Dota 2, the main competitor to League of Legends. Knowing
Viper
that,
was a
with his
good
now
character.
massive
I played Viper
popularity,
back in the
he
day.
could bring a lot of new players into whatever game he decided to settle with. Riot made it official. The ban would be lifted. In January of 2018, Tyler would make a stream announcing his return to League of Legends in glorious style, completely decked out in Draven cosplay, achieving the astronomical and record-breaking mark of 382,000 concurrent viewers live. He would also tweet it out, saying, "After 613 days of intense rehab, I am finally unbanned from League of Legends. We'll start streaming again Monday, 3 p.m. CT, let's go." Kotaku would contact Riot in the wake of this announcement, only to get official confirmation from the horse's mouth that Tyler was free to stream League once again, which he would go on to do for an insane streak of 16 days in a row for 10 hours a day. This culminated in his YouTube account finally achieving 1 million subscribers.
God, I couldn't
which,
imagine
to be honest,
playing
was
League
very long overdue
for 10
considering
hours
how
a
popular
day.
he was. This marked a
Every
major
day.
shift, not only for Tyler's career, but also for the League community in general. Tyler 1 was back to business at full throttle, and this initially got people extremely excited for obvious reasons. He had become the underdog of Twitch for 2 years now, and finally, the tables turned and he could do what
I
he
mean,
was
to be
best
fair,
at,
yeah, some
playing
people enjoy
League.
RTA.
However,
I
he
can't
would still
imagine
do
doing
the
it for 10
occasional
hours a
variety
day every day
stream,
as well.
including probably his most legendary and popular one, A Day in the Life of Tyler 1 IRL. It was more or less in the same vein as his TCN presentations, but with much more creative ambition. It's hard for me to encapsulate the entirety of that stream into a brief description, but as the title suggests, it was a lengthy green screen extravaganza of Tyler depicting himself as some kind of celebrity superstar. Highlights include Tyler piloting a helicopter, riding a bike to Initial D music, and last but not least, talking to the then President of the United States, Donald Trump, who asks him to retrieve lost nuclear codes. Quite the eventful day. It was one large victory lap for Tyler, who was now seen as one of the faces of Twitch streaming. Unfortunately, despite this honeymoon phase being extremely enjoyable for both his viewers and outsiders curious about the Tyler 1 phenomenon, soon enough, a bitter aftertaste would settle in. The people who saw his banning from League as a good thing would turn out to be more right than they ever wanted to be. By the middle of 2018, Tyler was already exhibiting signs that, long-term, his return to League was not healthy for him. At that point, people were already acquainted with the generally loud and aggressive way that Tyler carried himself, as it was clear that was just him being amped up and trying his best to be entertaining. In one particular moments, though, this was not the case. He would break his typically joyful character and get genuinely upset. During his usual League stream, he was put on the same team as someone who was inting and trolling the game, and as he points out, if he were to flame this person in chat for doing it, he'd be the one getting punished, not the player. He
That's
also
true.
remarks that even if he were to report it, nothing would happen, which enraged him to the point that, as soon as the match was lost and the defeat animation began, he immediately quit the game. After a few minutes of him explaining why he was so frustrated to his viewers, he would touch on the fact that Riot's patches to supposedly balance the champions out were making the game unplayable. After almost 10 minutes of trying his best to keep his cool, he would completely lose it.
I'm so sick of this fucking company. They're trash! Fix the game! It sucks playing this shit! And I'm fucking addicted! So I can't quit!
Yeah, I remember this one. This one, yeah. Yeah, I feel like this is the one that a lot of people have seen.
This game anymore! It is garbage!
It was very concerning to see Tyler like that, considering how uncharacteristic it was of him. Even more concerning was the fact that the very next day, he was once again streaming League for over 10 hours straight. Many people found themselves relating to the things Tyler had said, identifying with being addicted to a game they knew was terrible. But even then, most of them played casually. Tyler had to do it for
E7
hours
players
on end
be
as his
like,
job every single
World of
day.
Warcraft
It was an
players be like.
obligation. This was just one of the many occasions where Tyler would expound on his borderline abusive relationship with League of Legends. In another clip, he would swear off playing League off stream after playing a total of 26 games and losing 18 due to people trolling games without punishment. As he told this story, he essentially described suffering from what is called the gambler's fallacy, meaning the compulsive inability to stop playing after a loss, which almost made him
Well,
miss
yeah,
his daily workouts,
just one more
something
game.
that he evidently holds very dear. He's also said that he not only sees the League client when he closes his eyes sometimes, but actually has nightmares about playing a 50-minute long match and losing it. According to him, it's gotten so bad that he's begun feeling like, when his teammates play poorly, it actually affects him on a physiological level, as after a few bad or trolled matches, he would become physically ill with stomach and headaches. Due to the way that
Jeez.
League works, Tyler needs to play constantly in order to hold on to his top rank of the season, usually resulting in 40-hour marathons and around 200 hours of streaming in a month. He used to take month-long breaks from streaming
200 hours streamed in a month. Come on. That's it? 200 hours? Rookie numbers.
to get proper rest for his throat and heal from all the screaming, but since this is his full-time job, vacations have gotten less and less frequent. In one article, he mentions playing League for up to 15 hours a day. It's a job that certainly pays
Damn.
well, with Tyler alleging to have made over $5 million. But for how long can he keep it up? The stress from the gaming alone would be enough to break some people, without even accounting for occupational hazards such as people swatting him and his girlfriend. As a matter of fact, it's surprising he can even maintain a healthy personal life and relationship with the kind of hours he's putting in. Overall, it does seem like he enjoys this lifestyle.
I mean,
a
the
lot,
thing is,
but at the
though,
same
like, so healthy relationship and stuff like that. I think if you are a streamer or a content creator who is with a streamer, somebody who is a streamer or a content creator, I think that's a big difference than like somebody who doesn't stream or anything like that, right? It's like a gamer dating a gamer versus a gamer dating somebody who doesn't play games, right? They're not going to understand. So like if you are with a streamer, content creator, something like that, they understand the amount of time that you have to put in. And a lot of times too, you know, you work together, right? So, you know, you can definitely have probably a healthy relationship with that because, well, you both know what you're supposed to, what it is that you're doing, right? Not only that, but if both of them are huge streamers, you know, they do this for another couple of years. I mean, they've got tons of money. They can quit probably whenever they want, you know, as long as they've got their money right.
time, it takes its toll. Considering the extremely tragic circumstances other streamers such as Etika and Rekful have passed
That's
away
true.
in, one must wonder how bad for your mental health it is to be in such close and constant contact with people online. Tyler
It
has
is pretty
actually
bad for
commented
your
on
mental
Rekful's
health.
story with a rather healthy take on never giving up on people even if they are struggling with mental health problems. Fortunately, Tyler doesn't seem to have a pre-existing tendency towards depression or anything like that, but it's not as if he's completely out of the woods just because of that. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure that Tyler is being transparent when he displays being comfortable with his profession. I'm just hoping it stays that way for the foreseeable future. Ultimately, no one can speak for content creators better than themselves insofar as what they should do with their career. On the other hand, it's never too early to be concerned with someone when they show signs of struggling with something. Many people tend to write it off since, well, these e-celebs make so much money, so how could they possibly be suffering? Time flies when you're having fun, and as of this year, Tyler's devotion to League of Legends
Just because you're
is
making a lot of
completing its
money
10-year
doesn't mean that you
birthday.
can't,
But
you know,
speaking
be
of time,
suffering.
we've only lived in a world where being a streamer is a job for, what, a few years? The fact that it's such a recent phenomenon means we can't possibly predict the ultimate effects of practicing this as a job for the better part of your life, whether those effects are good or bad in the long run. But maybe that's just me being a doomer. Maybe I've done so many videos on people with the most abominable stark life stories that, even when I'm talking about someone who is doing well for themselves, I see the downsides that aren't there. I will say that, hopefully, Tyler manages to retire from Twitch streaming mentally unscathed and forms a family with Michaela as they've expressed they want to do. It certainly would be the happy ending to a story with plenty of triumphs already. I've been Turkey Tom, thanks for watching, and until next time, leave me alone.
Yeah, I like Turkey Tom's videos. He does really big deep dives into people. I mean on the terms of like, you know, mental health problems for streamers. I think that a lot of times it definitely amplifies it, but it really kind of usually hits first when you start to see your numbers drop off, right? It's a dopamine rush. Like you start seeing, you know, you'll get like 5 concurrent viewers and then you get 10 concurrent viewers. Then all of a sudden you have 25 concurrent viewers. And then maybe you get raided by somebody and you get a whole bunch of followers. And then the next time you get 50. And then you start climbing up there. You know, you're holding like, I think when I was peak in Epic 7, I was holding like, you know, 500 concurrent viewers on at times, you know, and then you're on your high and then you're like, man, this is great. I'm snowballing. I'm doing everything. They'll happily watch me do something else. And so you start playing something else and then only 15 people out of the, you know, 100, 200, 300, you know, watch you play 7 Days to Die with Jonas. But it doesn't matter because you're having fun. and then you go back to Epic 7, and then you have a couple of hundred. Then you're like, all right, well, cool, man. Like, yeah, I want to give Final Fantasy 14 a try again. And then you go play Final Fantasy 14, and all of a sudden, all of the people that are normally around aren't around anymore. You know, I mean, this is just personal, right? You know, it's yeah. And so, like, that can definitely, like, for other streamers, especially like, people with already pre-existing, issues, when you start falling off, like, even when, you go back to you go to the game that you are playing, maybe numbers start dwindling. Maybe somebody else is on the come up, and they're just more entertaining. Maybe you took a little bit of time off. That's one of the big things, right? It's like you can't take time off in this. Like, you have to stream on a regular basis. You have to make content on a regular basis. Now, some YouTubers, they can get away with making videos whenever it is that they feel like making videos, but those videos are, perfectly edited masterpieces that take months to make, and then when it comes out, fantastic. It is what it is. But, like, you know, you start seeing, you're like, wait, hold on. Well, I'm making this video that normally does really well. Like, why did it only get 3,000 views this week instead of 10,000 views that I got last week? What am I doing wrong? And so, like, you start to like analyze all of this stuff. And bro, I don't care what streamer, what YouTuber, like, if they say, oh, I don't look at numbers. I just make content. I I don't ever really look at anything like that. I don't care if a video gets 1 view or 1 million views. They're lying to you. They are a liar. They are lying to you because they want to seem like they are somebody who is above the numbers game. They're not. They never will be. That is just the truth of it. Because no matter what you think, like, if you just do this as a hobby, as soon as you get like one video that has 1,000 views, if the next one gets 800 views, yeah, you're gonna
Moons
just
one R
go,
says allow me to call bullshit on that.
yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, you will start looking at numbers. And the bigger your numbers get, the more those number fluctuations will impact you, regardless of, what it is that you think. Pro WoW player is an oxymoron. If you get paid to play a game, you are a professional at that game. So I disagree with you. A lot of pro arena players make more money than most esports players. So if you play a game and you get paid for it and you are really, really fucking good at arena, um, then you are a professional. It's no different than a pro league player. It's no different than a pro Dota player. It's no different than anything else. Even like the world first mythic raiders, all of those are professional World of Warcraft players. They have more knowledge about World of Warcraft and how the game plays than the entirety of Wowhead in general, because they have just downloaded all of it into their heads. So pretty much anybody who plays a game and gets paid for it is a professional at that game. So it's not really an oxymoron on that one. But yeah, I think anybody, like, mental health stuff when it comes to online content creation is definitely real and true. And yeah, it sucks. And the thing is, though, is depending on what kind of streamer, what kind of content creator you are, um there is always like the issue and the stigma with bringing up your depression or your sadness on stream, or on videos, right? Because people come to streams, they come to YouTube because they want to be entertained. They don't want to be reminded of their own issues, their own mental problems, all of that stuff, right? So when you start doing, there was another good video that I watched on Boogie, where he started being a doomer, you know, talking about his depression, and his numbers just cratered. Because then it's like what I've talked about on my YouTube channel, where I'm like, I don't want my content to be me being sad, because I don't want, you know, people to you know, to come and, yeah, I'm not looking for pity points, right? Like, I understand, like, my depression, and I need to work it out, you know, and get through it, but I don't want that to impact my content. So a lot of content creators, they suffer in silence because, well, you just don't bring it up. You know, people will be like, wait, hold on, you've actually been suffering through this, you know? And it's like, well, yeah, but I don't want that to make everybody in my stream sad, because they're gonna go watch somebody else. You know, it was a problem that Deity had in, you know, when he was streaming Epic 7, was that he was, you know, he was big sad for a long time, and that impacts your content, you know, and it's going to drive people off. And then once you drive somebody off and they find a new streamer, it's really, really hard to pull that person back, because you're just that person I used to watch, but I like this guy better, you know, and so it's definitely difficult. So mental health stuff. But yeah, that was the depressing side of live streaming by Turkey Tom. It was a good video. I really like Turkey Tom. Good stuff. Good stuff.